3. All right, so today we get to talk with Holly Johnson, how to make feeling good a priority. And Holly, I'm going to put you on the screen and put you on the spot. What is the best advice you ever got?
Do what you love and the money will follow.
Love that. Awesome. So how did you learn? When did you learn that? How did that show up in your life as a great piece of advice? Do what you love and the money will follow.
Well, when I was, before I was starting my first business, I'm a PR and marketing specialist for the past 30 plus years. I read Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the one that stuck in my mind was do what you love and the money will follow. And I can honestly say that when I'm doing the work that I love, the money has followed. You know, it hasn't made me, you know, a gazillionaire, but it's helped me live the life that I want and to feel really good about what I do. You know, what I realized is that I was going to spend more time at work, and everybody else does too, than anything else in our lives, including sleep. And I really love to sleep. So I decided early on that I better find something to do that I really loved. And I fell into a job at Colorado Ski Country out of college, and I got to live in Denver in a city and represent the state ski industry. And that was heaven on earth for me. I actually said at one point, I can't believe people would even pay you for this. This is so much fun. So.
Wow, that's great. So what if, you know, is it about like the job that you love, or is it about finding the love in the job that you do? A lot of people, I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because I think sometimes, you know, our whole job in totality is not lovable, right? We might not dig it all. So what does that mean? Show me, just give me a little more on that topic.
I really believe that if we can find love in what we do, and really anything, you know, people focus so much on what's wrong in the world, wrong in their life, wrong with their spouse, wrong with their kids, instead of focusing on what's right and what they're proud of. And I think, you know, when you can find love or appreciation, even for the smallest things, people get so caught up in it needs to be big in order to be meaningful. And you know, I wake up every morning and make really good coffee, and that smell of coffee, I'm like, oh my God, I love the smell of this. And it just starts my day off in a really positive way. And if we can start appreciating even the smallest things and the contributions that we're making to a company or a job or somebody's life, how much that makes us feel better about what we're doing and who we are.
I agree. I love that mindset. I think that's super, super important. I mean, gratitude is one of the strongest things that we can use to shift our life here. But as I'm reading your book, I read some stuff that a lot of people maybe wouldn't be grateful for. First of all, let's talk about let's talk about the big one here. You're a marathoner who is at the Boston bombing. So talk to me about what was going on there, why that started out maybe as a amazingly grateful thing that was like, holy crap, and then how that shifted back to gratitude.
Well, I was super fortunate. You know, this was one of the days in a runner's and a marathoner's life when I literally had my perfect storm. I had trained, my training went great. I went in feeling confident, and actually on the bus ride out, because they bus you out 26 miles from Boston to Hopkinton, and you're sitting on the bus going, this is a really long ride. Oh boy, gee, lucky me, I get to run back. And when I was sitting on the bus, I just kind of turned a little weird, and I noticed this kind of kink in my hamstring, and I'm going, no, not today. And when I started the race, it kind of was bugging me, and I finally just said, not today, leg. And I started focusing on the leg that felt good instead of the one that was bothering me. And I was super fortunate. I got through the finish line 15 minutes faster than I had expected, or kind of my age where I was expected to finish. And it was my fastest marathon in 20 years. at the age of 56. So, and you know, even if you're not a marathoner, you could probably appreciate how unbelievably awesome that felt to me. And it's very congested at the finish area because you have a lot of people, you have a lot of spectators, and I was pushed back to the buses where your food and where you get food and clothing and all that. And I was staying out by the airport. I decided to try to save some money and not stay downtown. And I'd taken public transportation. So I was trying to go back toward the finish line where I knew was the subway that I could get on. I am geographically and directionally very challenged. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get on the wrong subway or something like that. And I was literally forced to turn around because the crowds were so thick and it was so congested. So I was pushed to the back of the finish line area where there's security gates, started changing my clothes, heard this very loud boom, and I'm going, that doesn't sound very good. And I'm going, oh, it's Patriots Day, Patriots salute to the winners. And I'm going, oh, wait a second, the winners finished like a couple hours ago because they finished marathons in, 2 hours and 10 minutes, give or take. And then I heard another boom, very loud one. And I'm going, really not good. I need to get out of here. And at that point, the security guard for the area said, we need everybody to pack up their stuff and get out of here and turn off your cell phones. Because what I found out is that cell phones can be a trigger. And so when I got through, I looked up and there was a subway station, and I remembered that it was just the stop before the finish line. I'm like, lucky me. Okay, boom, I'm there. And I started down the stairs and people are going, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to get on the subway. And they go, no, they just shut the subways down. And I'm going, okay, this is really, really not good. And I go, okay, I need a cab. Where do you find a cab? You find a cab at a hotel. And I look up and there's the Plaza Hotel, and I'm going, okay, bingo. And then, I just keep thinking about, I need to get out of here. And these things are actually kind of helping me, stay safe. And got in, found out that there were airport shuttles, got on that. And the people who were getting on the shuttle with me were fast finishers, and they weren't even aware that anything was going on. All they were told was not to use their cell phones. And so I explained that there was possibly trash can bombs, but we turned on the radio, and literally the world as we know it unfolded. And right behind us, as in the movies, with the speeding van leaving the city that's kind of falling apart, the barriers went up. And I was just kept going, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Texted my husband, I'm fine. I had a good race, I'm fine. And just because I wasn't supposed to be using cell phones. And, we drove literally by the finish area and just watched this absolute mayhem going on. And, you just can't believe it. I mean, I was in shock, and I just kind of kept going through the motions. And the next day, the world, I fully started experiencing what PTSD was. And, here I am going, wow, I had this most amazing marathon, and I felt guilty for even thinking about appreciating it when people's legs and arms were blown off. And, so I just kind of got consumed with all of this sadness, and had to really try to find my way out of that. And it was very challenging because, as I said in the book, when I got home, my husband was not very emotionally available. And I was basically just kind of dismissed, like, no big deal when I got home. There was no, well, I'm really glad you're alive. I'm really glad you're safe. He just wanted life to be normal. And, we're all individuals, and we have to accept everybody's different way of doing something. I just needed some kind of love and reassurance, and he needed everything to be the same. And it was the beginning of the end of our marriage. So that was a really, really tough time for me.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine when what we need and what we're getting is completely the opposite. of things, and we have to find a way through when maybe the way through is hell, right? I mean, that's a hard time. Having been divorced myself, I know that's the last option
Right.
that we have, and sometimes it's the only option. So, wow, wow. So how so your big, I guess, kind of your message as I read through your book, one of the big themes that I hear, Holly, is choice and the power of choice. And you talk a lot about choice. And one of the choices that you talk about is making feeling good a priority. Obviously, it's the title of your book, but it's also something that I know I struggle with sometimes. How do we do that when we're so darn busy, when we have so much going on in our life, when maybe the external people that we love the most are not available for us and don't give us what we think we need? How do we do that? Can you give me some examples, maybe when you have, or some insight into how one of us might be able to make that happen?
Well, I think the most important thing is that you make a conscious decision that you want to feel good. And when you make that decision, then you go, what does that look like? And a lot, again, people tend to think that it has to be something really big. Um, the easiest and best way is before you get out of bed in the morning or when you're brushing your teeth, go, how can I make this day the best day? Like, you look at, you talk about being so overwhelmed with your to-do list. Well, to-do lists by their nature, I mean, to do, it's like your parents telling you you have to do something. I mean, what makes that kind of fun and enjoyable and feel good? I call mine my amazing day includes, or wouldn't it be nice if, I nailed that interview. I got that speaking booking that I've been working on. When you have, so take your to-do list and put adjectives in there that make it a positive. Like, instead of, okay, I have to go for a run. Well, I'm going to go for my, wouldn't it be nice if, or my amazing day includes an energizing run in the morning. And then all of a sudden you're adding energy and some kind of positive mindset to go into it, instead of just, I have to do this, this, and this, and this. And so that is one of the techniques. And I wish I was smart enough to come up with it. I actually stole it from Vishen Lakhiani with Mind Valley, who is definitely one of my mentors, even though I haven't met him. But he has been very helpful to me in kind of this path and finding, for lack of a better word, my calling to take my own inherent desire and belief ever since I was a little girl that I just really wanted to be happy. And as I say in my book, sometimes it's taken me to far ends of the earth to try to seek that out. I mean, I the first to admit that I have used titles and running and other things, but the most important thing is what resonates with you and each person. What makes me feel good, not what your spouse wants you to feel good like. And I always say, with the caveat, before drugs and alcohol. Doesn't mean that that's not part of your life. I mean, food is a pleasure, and alcohol can be too. But when the first step to feeling good is self-medicating, in whatever way you do it, and I've used running as my self-medication too. But think about just, how can I feel good today? And what does that look like? And then all of a sudden, things just kind of calm down and you start finding your place in the world instead of what you think everybody else thinks that your place in the world should be.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a big choice, right? If we ask ourselves those questions as we get deeper and find out what makes us happy instead of what makes other people happy, or what might make, my spouse might want this. Well, that isn't what I need. So focusing on that without, I guess self first instead of selfish. Is that another way maybe to think about that?
Exactly. And people feel really guilty, like, whoa, I'm so, I can't put myself first, and your spouse doesn't think you should put yourself first. And yet, when you think about, okay, when you have a good day, aren't you a better spouse, worker, colleague, parent? I said, and a lot of what I really try to instill in people in the book is this is about your choice and thinking about people who feel good don't storm the Capitol. They don't open fire in a grocery store on people, and if we could all just have a little bit more feel good about ourselves, it's a trickle down effect. And it's really just, if you just, in the simplest form, go, I'm going to spend 5 minutes before I get out of bed. And instead of rolling over and hitting the snooze button, which never works at all, because all of a sudden, then you wake up and you're like, I'm running really late. And then all of a sudden you just see the day going like this. And then your kids are late, and, you just, the whole thing. And so the law of attraction works for you and against you, depending upon the energy that you're doing. And, some people go, oh, that's a lot of little woohoo stuff. But I can honestly say, when I go, whoa, not liking how I feel right now, what can I do to feel better? And it doesn't mean that you're never going to have bad moments, but bad moments are way better than bad days. And bad days just become bad weeks and then bad months, which turn into bad marriages, or whatever. It's the snowball effect. And so you can make that snowball into a snowman that's really happy, or you can make that snowball and turn it into an avalanche. It's really your choice.
Yeah. Wow. I dig that. You said you got a lot of stuff here that I kind of took some notes on here, right? We think about our get to do list, including my amazing day includes, how do we make me feel good? Being self first isn't selfish. And I love your point about feeling good has a trickle down effect. It's almost like, the better, it doesn't work in economics, but it absolutely works with other people, right? If I'm good, that helps other people, right? My energy infects and infuses and helps other people. And even if I have a bad moment, I love how you said this, right? Bad moments are way better than bad days or bad marriages, which is really funny, right? I mean, but that's so true. It's so true, right? Because this can suck, like right now can suck, and that's okay, right? But I have to get my head out of my ass, and I have to recognize that it doesn't have to be this bad forever, and I can choose how I give this energy. So I dig that. I think that's so important. But how do we do that when we have a date with an umbrella? You have to share that story. That's the funniest story in your book that I love, right? Tell me about your date with an umbrella, Holly.
Well, I love to travel, and I'm typically on a plane, once every month or 6 weeks. Well, COVID came along and that took that away. And I was starting to get really frustrated, and I really said, oh God, I just want to get out of here. And I said, well, you can't get on a plane, so stop focusing on what you can't do and focus on what you can do. And that is a big part of my book of, the kind of two worlds that COVID created, or people fell into. Either the I can'ts, and they use everything that's wrong in their life or wrong in the world as an excuse for not taking care of themselves or feeling good, or the how can I's, which say, okay, I can't do that, but I can do this. So I can't go to the gym, so I'm going to order home exercise equipment. I mean, it went off the charts. Bikes went off the charts. And so I went, okay, you live in Florida, and you've always said that, where you wanted to explore more of it, and you've been wanting to go to St. Augustine, this beautiful, historic, very romantic city. And, I was going, well, when I get the boyfriend, we'll go there. And I'm going, well, who knows when boyfriend's going to show up? And I said, so what are you waiting for? Go on a date with yourself. And it was the first weekend when they just started opening up hotels. And so I said, I was on a very limited budget at that point, but I said, life is short. And I kind of have a guilty thing of doing that. It's like, when you're struggling with money, go spend some, and then, live the life that you want now, because you may not have it tomorrow. And so I said, if I can find a hotel on the beach, for under $150 a night, then I'll go. And I did. And so I packed up. I literally packed my bag like I was going on a date, and cute little sundresses, bikini bathing suits, little Tervis mugs for gin and tonics that I could do on the beach. And also being on the beach meant that I didn't have to drive. And I put my bike on my car because A1A has a really big bike lane. And I thought, go ride along the coast. And so literally over the weekend, I watched sunsets and drank gin and tonics and slept in. And then on my last day there, it was kind of cloudy, and I went for a bike ride in the morning, and I came back and it was just overcast, not, anything compelling to go down to the beach. So I took a shower and I still put on a cute little sundress because I said, if you were date, what would you be doing? And you would probably like go out to brunch or lunch or something like that. And then I had a nice lunch, and then the sun came out, and I'm going, well, I'm kind of showered. Do I really want to go on the beach and get sandy? And I'm going, if you were on a date, what would you do? And I said, well, no question. You put on the bathing suit and you go. It's just, take a shower or not. Who cares? So I went down and I'm sitting there, and it was kind of windy. And the next thing I know, there's an umbrella like a rocket coming to the side of my head. And I put my hand up, and there was blood on it. Of course, I'm freaking out. And the group of whose umbrella it was, it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just a weird freak of nature accident. Came, flying over to me with, a cooler and ice. And she was an esthetician. So she said, I don't freak out about your head. You just have, your veins are really close there. So it looks like it's worse than it is, but you have a little bit of a gash, but nothing big. And, but you're probably going to have a really big shiner. And, and they were very concerned about me. Was I okay? And, I said, one of my things is to do something different every day. And so this was real different. They all started laughing, and they're like, oh my God, how can you're like have so good natured about this? And I said, life happens. And I think it was then that she said, well, you're going to have you're probably going to have a big shiner. I go, never had one of those either. And so we started laughing. And as I said in the book, they, were concerned about me, but and invited me to go out to dinner with them. But I was just like, no, I'm fine. And I didn't really kind of want to make small talk, but I went back to my room and thinking, where do I want to go to dinner? And I had gone to this lovely little bistro the night before, and the bartender was a runner and nice. And I went, I could probably get some sympathy cocktails if I'm going to have a shiner. And it was starting to show up on the side of my face. And I know a lot of people, my son, friends, girls, who wouldn't even go out because they've got a big bruise on their face. And here I am. I'm like, I'm going to milk this one for what it's worth, get some free drinks out of it. So anyway, in part of that conversation was, kind of in the things that I hadn't done before is like, well, never been on a date with an umbrella either. So, and I,
that's awesome.
I did get the sympathy cocktails. And as I said in my book, that whole weekend was really about just being Holly and what was fun with me and what I would do on a date. And I was like, wow, I'm a really fun date. And it didn't mean that I didn't wish that somebody else was with me, but I couldn't put my life on hold because I needed to wait for somebody else to make my life right.
Absolutely. You chose to have a great time and have a date with an umbrella instead of turning it into something awful that could have kept you, frozen where you were. So I really love that. Yeah.
Blaming the group, blaming the hotel, suing them. It was just, it didn't even enter my mind at all. I was so thankful that they were there with washcloths, and they gave me an ice pack and, offered to do anything, take me to the hospital. And I was just so grateful and appreciative that they were there, and I was okay. If I hadn't turned my chair away a little bit, that thing could have rocketed into my eye. So instead of focusing on what went wrong, I focused on actually how fortunate I was that I didn't lose my eye. It was a small gash. I got a shiner that I'd never had before, and I got free drinks.
There you go. Sounds like a good deal to me. Sounds like a good deal to me.
It all worked out, definitely.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, you've got so many great stories like that and so many tips like that in the book. I mean, you've got, I'm looking now, I can't remember if it's 20 or 22 different, 21 lessons here in the book, which I so love, and I've enjoyed them all, and I love chatting. But how do we get started? If people are like, oh my gosh, obviously they should get a copy of the book, right? How to Make Feeling Good a Priority. It's a fantastic, easy read, wonderful stories, great exercises, really insightful. But if folks want to get started today, how do they get started today on the journey towards making feeling good a priority?
What I would do is pull out a magic marker on a sticky note or a whiteboard or whatever and say, feeling good is my priority. It's actually my hashtag, or feeling good is our priority when I'm speaking out to the world, but feeling good is my priority. The power of visualizing and looking at something every day. And then you just go, what does that look like for me today? And then when you find those moments that are going to come up probably pretty much every day until you start kind of manifesting a little bit different pattern is, okay, not feeling good. My kids just pissed me off. My husband said something or my boss said something and it was a trigger for me. And you go, take a deep breath. Not feeling good. How can I feel better? And sometimes it's like, do I need to address whatever was said? Or do I just need to let it go and make a choice of what's going to make you feel better? And I may be oversimplifying this. I've been working on this for a long time. I mean, pretty much all my life, not necessarily super consciously, but there is so much negative stuff thrown out at us. Or when you're on social media and you're looking and everybody's life seems perfect, it's not. And going, just say, is this making me feel better? Or is there something else that I could do that would make me feel better? And just asking yourself the question instead of just kind of ramming through it or stuffing it down. And again, there you go from bad moment to bad day. And as I said, in the book, like on your way home, instead of thinking about all the things that are going to annoy you when you walk in the door, go, how can I make my evening at home the best that it can be? Well, I walk in and my kids are on, playing on Game Boy and they're on their phone and the dishes are stacked up in the sink. Hey kids, mom's home. How was your day? And if they ignore you, get in front of them and go, hi kids. Pick up their little toys and take them away. And they're going to give you that weird look like, what's up with mom today? And go, I didn't have a great day today, but I'd really like to finish it and make us all a really nice dinner. So, but in order for me to do that, I need you to clean up the dishes in the sink. Can you guys tag team on that and make that happen? And they're going to look at each other and I go, okay, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. It's your choice. They're still going to need to get done at some point, but I'm going to go take a bath or a shower. And when I come out, if the dishes are clean, I'm going to make dinner for all of us. And if they're not, I'm going to make dinner for myself. And people may go, wow, that's really selfish. That ain't going to fly with my husband. And just say, well, you know what, hubby? You want the nice dinner too? Get the dishes clean in the sink or have the kids help you. And then we can all enjoy this together. But right now, looking at those dishes in the sink isn't making me feel good. And I'm all about feeling good right now because I did not have a very good day. So make your choice and let them start making choices too. And I realize, I may be talking from the cheap seats, but I actually employed these things with my son and he didn't like it. And I got pushback. But when I stood my ground and sometimes I still did what I was going to do, but I just didn't do it for him. Then he started coming around and he knew that when I asked him to do something that I was serious about it. And that makes everybody feel better. He started feeling better too. And I said to him, on numerous occasions when I had to kind of sit down and do the parent thing, I go, I love being your friend, but you have plenty of friends and you only have 2 parents. And we know your dad's not going to have this conversation, so I am. And at some point you'll understand it and appreciate it. But right now you need a parent, whether you like it or not. and just acknowledging the fact that everybody was uncomfortable. We would love to be best friends with our kids, but they really need a parent more than anything else.
Awesome. I did that. Holly, thank you so much for spending some time today. The book is fantastic. How to Make Feeling Good a Priority. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I appreciate every lesson that you shared and all the time you shared today. This was really fun. Thank you so much, my friend.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. And if one person starts feeling better today because of my book or this interview or your desire to bring me out, then, my day has just gotten a whole lot better for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Holly. Folks, get a copy of Holly's book. Spend some time with yourself. Make some good choices. Make feeling good a priority for you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spending some time. Make it a great day. Thanks.